boy, I have been spending way too much time on social media lately, and it has got me real angry about a lot of things. And so we're going to talk about some of them and let that bleed into some other topics we needed to talk about. Welcome back to the podcast. Hi, I'm Naomi. I am your host, and this is Mosaic in Progress. So, several weeks ago, a content creator who I follow posted a video that was calling out cultural appropriation and magical appropriation. This creator is a medium, a psychic, and a white woman, and frequently makes posts about cultural appropriation and magical spiritual appropriation on her own without referencing anyone from the communities that she is claiming to protect. And I've followed her for a while, and I've seen these posts several times, and I hit a point with it. It hit me on a bad day, and I decided to comment. Always a bad idea. Just always a bad idea. But I said, it always hits me as weird that people want to speak for cultures that are not their own. And of course she attacked me for it. And I said, I didn't say that anything you're saying is wrong. I think it's weird that you're speaking for other cultures when those cultures are speaking for themselves. Rather than elevating their voices, you're speaking over them. And of course that got me attacked further. And then yesterday, another content creator who I follow, who is an indigenous woman, she reposted a video of a white man just reaming out white women. And he didn't ream out white women, in his words. So he reacted to a video a white woman had created. That was her in Katniss Everdeen, cosplay. And her caption for the video was just getting ready for tomorrow after these election results. And he did a several minute long rant video about how American women are so privileged. They're the most privileged women in the history of the world, and they just do things like this for clout, and they're not serious, and no one should take them seriously. And there were several people in the comments who were like, hey, you probably shouldn't repost this misogynistic piece of shit, because that's all his content is misogynistic shit. And she didn't really respond or react to those that I saw. And I commented. No, I didn't realize when I commented that it was her who had posted it. I thought it was the dude. And that's my bad for not paying attention. But I didn't realize that it was a repost from her. I thought it was the dude, and I was like, no. Like, this is the last point in history when you should be speaking for women. Shut up and sit down. Like, this is not the time for you to be speaking for women, because this dude claims to be liberal, and he's like, liberal women are the problem. And I was like, maybe you should be quiet, actually. Because whether or not your point is valid, it's lost, because you're speaking from a point of privilege, and maybe you shouldn't be the one calling out women. You're a fucking white man. You are the most privileged person in this country right now. Like, you shouldn't be speaking about other people's privilege. You should be quiet. And the person who reposted it responded to me and called me a settler and told me I didn't understand anything about struggle. My initial comment, I said, "How dare you, as a white man, call out women in this time? You're claiming to be a liberal, and rather than attacking the people who are attacking our rights, you're attacking us." And number two, claiming that American women are the most privileged women in history. Black women statistically are the least likely to have, one, their pain treated effectively, and two, their medical concerns responded to appropriately with the appropriate diagnostic tests, etc. And women in America are statistically more likely to be raped than their rapist is to be put on trial. So what exactly is it that you think is privilege? And then she called me a settler. And I want to address that. Not for her. Not for anyone who wants to call me a settler or anything like that, or wants to call me an appropriator. I want to address it because history is important. And we can't talk about how critical race theory is important to be taught in schools if we're not willing to talk about the reality of what it is in the present. The reality of what it is in the present is that I have an ancestor who was a slave brought over from Africa and was bought as a house slave to cover up that they were an illegitimate baby born into the family. The reality of the matter is that my great-grandmother's grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee and gave up her heritage and assimilated and adopted a white name so that she didn't get shipped off out west. My story isn't unique. My ancestry isn't unique. The creator of the Hoodoo Tarot deck, I love following her on Instagram and the posts that she makes. And there's no way that I can pause this recording. It's the one thing I don't like about Riverside. So just stand by, because I don't want to not say her name. Okay, I'm back. Tiana Lee McQuiller. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Her Instagram is full of just absolutely amazing things about hoodoo and voodoo and race relations in America. And she talks a lot about the stupidity of people who want to deny the interracial background of most people in America. I am a very, very white person. I am pale as fuck. I have green eyes and porcelain skin and blonde, naturally, hair. My Irish DNA comes through like nothing else. And you would think that I was the whitest white person in the world until I walk away from you. And then every black person I have ever met comes up to me and says, Do you have black people? in your family? Because you can see it. I do. And we have gotten this compartmentalized version of race. And we are using it to hate other people in so many different ways. And it's fucking ridiculous. And we need to fucking stop it. Because it's not just, we think about racism and we're like, oh, white people hating black people, white people hating brown people. It's so much more than that. It's also white people hating ourselves and hating our ancestry and denying our ancestry. We're really, really good at looking at other white people and going, you can't talk about that because they have white skin. Because their phenotypic presentation is not what we think it should be for them to be talking about whatever the fuck it is they're talking about. And on top of that, and as a white woman, I am perfectly comfortable calling out other white women in this because we're the fucking worst in this. We love speaking for other people. And this is what the first content creator that I mentioned, this is what I called her out on. Because she never elevates other people. She never elevates the people from other cultures who are speaking about their own culture and how they feel about people appropriating it or using it or whatever. She just makes her own content talking about appropriation. And I said, kind of weird. Kind of weird to be speaking up about that. And there's a difference between speaking up on behalf of those who cannot speak for themselves and speaking over those who are already speaking. People from Black culture, people from indigenous culture, people from Hispanic culture are speaking for themselves. They don't need us to speak for them. Again, because the majority of my audience, according to Spotify, is white women. People don't need us to speak for them. You can elevate other people's voices without speaking for them. You can shut the fuck up and speak for them. If you really feel the need to speak about another culture and you feel that they are being disenfranchised in some way, there are so many options that you have available to you because of the technology that we have in this day and age. You can just share somebody else's post. If you're like on TikTok or something like that, you can do a silent react video where you're just alongside of them, nodding and pointing to them, telling other people to listen to them. You don't have to share your voice over theirs. And it's disrespectful for you to do so. When other people are speaking about their culture, to speak up and elevate your own voice instead of elevating theirs is disrespectful. It's disrespectful. And white women do this all the time, more than anyone else. Oh yeah, I wanna help the other communities. I wanna help prevent cultural appropriation. So I'm gonna make a video about it. I'm not gonna share anyone else's content from the culture. I'm gonna make my own video about it and elevate my own voice. And we're so fucking tone deaf. We don't even realize we're still doing the thing. We're still drowning out their voices. We have no idea how to just shut the fuck up. And we get really angry when people call us out for it, even if it's other white women. And I know why. I'm a white woman. I know why. We have been silenced for so long about so many things. We've just got to get our fucking voice heard. But you need to realize, if you are a white woman, that if you want to speak out about other cultures, what you need to do is elevate the voices of those cultures and not speak over them. You don't have a right to speak for them. I'll reiterate that. You do not have a right to speak for them, and it's so disrespectful that you think you do. And I bring up Tiana McQuiller. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Because she posts a lot of things about race mingling in this country. And she posted one recently that was basically saying, if you're Irish, Scottish, French, I forget what other nationality she said, but you for sure have African heritage too, because the intermingling was happening, even though people didn't want to admit it and people didn't like that it was happening. And as an Irish, Scottish, French heritage person, I can attest. But she posted something recently about one of her ancestors and how the paperwork of this ancestor said that they were white and that their spouse was mixed Indian, I think was how it was worded at the time. And people don't think about that or talk about that enough. My great-grandmother's grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee. She gave up her name and her heritage to assimilate into white culture to survive. I don't have any claim to Cherokee heritage. I wasn't brought up in it. No one shared it. I mean, there were things that were passed down that were a part of Cherokee heritage, but they weren't presented as that. Because she did what she needed to do to survive. And a lot of people did. A lot, especially the Cherokees, but a lot of the indigenous tribes assimilated and gave up their heritage to survive. And we don't talk about that enough, and we don't honor that enough. My Cherokee ancestors live on through me because my great, great, great grandmother decided that surviving was more important than her heritage. She gave up her identity so that eventually I could be here. And I've been thinking about that a lot with recent political events. Because I see all my liberal friends talking about buying guns. And you sound like fucking terrified right-wingers after Obama was elected. I grew up in a Christian nationalist family, and we had a fun twist on ours. We were also Southern nationalists. So it was extra fucking weird. And I grew up with the fear-mongering that all of that entails. I was convinced that one day some person would get elected who just hated us enough that it was going to come down to trials. There'd be officers coming and asking, are you really a Christian? I truly believed this. And I know I'm not the only one because I've talked to other evangelicals and deconstructing Christians and people who grew up with the same mentality. It was not just my parents. My parents had a lot of very unique, weird things that other people did not grow up under. But Christian nationalism, this was a hallmark in the evangelical community. That we were all convinced that one day police officers or UN officers or the FBI, CIA, somebody was going to come in and ask us to deny Christ. Are you really a Christian? Are you really a Christian? And you would have to say yes, even though it meant that you were going to die. And even as a child, I remember thinking, my mom and dad would really let them kill them to say that? Well, then what's going to happen to me and my sisters? Because I feel like they probably wouldn't ask kids that. They'd just ask the adults. And then they're going to take us and they're going to put us with some, sinful heathen family. And we're going to forget God. So they would tell the truth and die. And then let us get raised in sin. And we would go to hell because of them standing up for Christ. See, there's a problem with having an autistic kid when you've got a fear-mongering mentality. I took it to its logical conclusion. And I could never make sense of the question, are you really a Christian or not? Deny Christ or we'll kill you. And letting someone kill you over that. My thought was, just say no. And then they'll let you live, and then you can spread the message and make sure your kids are okay. But that would be lying. And that's a sin. Back to my comment about guns. I want you to think very seriously if you are a liberal who is looking at getting guns. I want you to think very seriously about the repercussions of those actions and what you're going to do with it. Because I grew up in that mentality. And there's a reason why I sold all of my guns. If you own a gun, you are obligated to practice firearm safety. There's a lot of things involved in that. One, treat every gun as if it is loaded. Two, be sure of your target and whatever is behind it. So if someone's coming at you and you're going to shoot them, what's behind them? What if you miss? And number three, because if you really think, which I think most people who are buying guns do, that the government is going to come after you for being gay or trans or liberal or black or brown or whatever, what are you going to do after? Seriously, what are you going to do after? What's your plan? The police come and they're like, fuck you, liberals. time for you to go, and you shoot back and you win that round. What are you going to do after that? Do you think you have any recourse in the courts after you shot down police officers? I promise you don't. Do you think there's not going to be another round coming for you? Where are you going to go after that then? There is an American trigger response to go get guns when we think the other side is taking power over us. And it is the most immature response we could have. I'm really disappointed with y'all. I hear so many liberals talking about gun control and gun laws and the problem with gun violence in this country, and everyone who I've heard talking about that is talking about going and buying guns now. Y'all are fucking hypocrites, and I'm disappointed in you. Do better. Gun violence is a huge problem in this country, partially because of the mentality that you have that led you to go buy guns. What are you going to do with them? What are you going to do? No, seriously, what are you going to do? I grew up with this mentality of fucking hoarding guns so you could take down the police or the FBI or who the fuck ever was coming after you. I grew up with Waco and Ruby Ridge drilled into my brain that that was a normal thing to expect. They didn't survive, the majority of them. Why do you think that you can have a few guns and fight the American military system? Why are you wanting to? What's your game plan? What are you going to do after? Do you really think that you can get out after? We're talking about survival here. I transitioned from that to survival because my ancestors gave up their heritage, their nationality, their fucking race to survive. And y'all think you can have a shootout with a few 9mm and an AR. With the fucking American military industrial complex. What are you doing? Why is that your focus? Why is that your focus? I've heard it said over and over again, and people don't repeat it enough. Whenever we talk about the end of the world and the apocalypse and whatever, we focus on buying guns and building bunkers and hoarding canned goods and things like that. Because we fetishize it. We like to talk about the zombie apocalypse that's coming and how we're gonna fight it out and survive. Do you know how we survive the end of the fucking world? That isn't the end of the world, it's just the end of the world as we know it. That would make a good song. Someone should make that. We survive it with fucking solidarity and community. We survive it by collaborating with our neighbors. The way people used to before our service-oriented economy, before capitalism, before all of our technology. We fucking rely on our neighbors. But we don't even want to talk to our neighbors. We don't like them. They're weird. They make too much noise, or they have weird lawn decorations, or they have yard signs we don't like. We don't want to have community anymore. We like our online community. We fucking love our online community. We love getting on Facebook or Instagram or where the fuck ever you like to use your social media. And social media has us more disconnected than we've ever been in history. Because we think we're connected with our friends because we like their posts every day. But you have no idea how your friend is doing. We need more community and less socials. We need to be involved in our neighborhoods and our communities, our cities, our counties, and less making big gotcha posts on social media. We have no solidarity anymore. We don't have solidarity with our coworkers or our neighbors or anyone around us. We've got hand-picked communities on the fucking internet. That has nothing to do with real life and the real world. We have let capitalism destroy us as a people. So how do we fight this? How do we combat this for real? Stop buying shit you don't need, number one. Number two, focus on where you're at. Now, I want to take a pause here, and I realize that a lot of people who listen to my podcast are like me and have issues with mental illness. And I want to quote from one of my favorite books. It's called How to Keep House While Drowning. And in this book, she goes over basically how to maintain your life while dealing with mental illness, specifically mental illnesses that contribute to executive dysfunction. And she said, you can't save the rainforest if you can't get out of bed. You need to be easy on yourself and gentle with yourself. Don't hold yourself accountable for what you are not able to accomplish. But what you are able to accomplish, do that. Buy from small businesses. Buy local. If you have a local butcher or a local produce store or a local bakery, buy from there instead of big chain grocery stores. And I realize that's 3 stops instead of 1. But the problem with our American political system is it's funded by corporations. And if we keep buying from big box stores and big chains and corporations, we're just funding our own downfall. So stop buying from the chain grocery stores if you can. Stop buying fast fashion, things like Shein. And I am so guilty of this, so don't think I'm up on my pedestal looking down on you. I'm calling myself out too. Focus on where your money is going. Look at what you're putting your resources into, your time and your money. Where is it going? Is it going to something good? Is it going to something that you support? Is it going to something that you want to invest in? And if it's not, change that. Avoid profit-driven businesses. Now, you're going to say, Naomi, all of the businesses want to make a profit. No. Some businesses, smaller businesses, exist because someone had a passion for something and they said, I want to do this. I want to do facials. I want to sell crystals. I want to sell cigars and pipes. I want to sell fresh produce. And I think this area needs that. Obviously, they want to make a living with it. There's a difference between wanting to make a living and being profit-driven. Those are not the same thing. Focus on your small businesses. Focus on buying local. And the other thing is get involved. Get involved in local civic groups. Go to your local city council or county commission meetings. Go to your local school board meetings. And the other thing, the most anti-capitalist thing that you can do is whatever the fuck you want to do. Do the weird things that make you happy. Aleister Crowley is famously quoted and misunderstood in saying, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. And everyone thinks that means just do whatever you want to do. And what he meant by that was that whatever drives you, whatever passion you have, whatever drive you have, something that needs to be created, that needs to be done, that needs to be expressed in you, needs to be expressed in the world. You have the drives and passions that you do because it's what the world needs. So do it to fill the void that you are here to fill. I have reflected over the last couple of weeks that the thing that makes me feel most myself is taking walks in nature. And the thing that I do least of all is taking walks in nature. And mostly that's because my job doesn't allow me the time and freedom to be able to do that. And by the end of the day, I'm so tired, I just go home and finish my day out with, dinner and go into bed. Doing the things that make you you and make you feel alive is the most radical, rebellious thing that you can do. So do them. Prioritize them. And the last thing that I will say, if you want to make a change, is to find your courage. Find your courage to speak out. And not just making a rant on social media. That doesn't do anything. It solidifies the people who agree with you and it angers the people who disagree with you. It doesn't do anything to make a real change. Years ago, at work, I was taking a patient who had been admitted from the ER to their room. I was helping out the ER. I wasn't working with them. I wasn't this patient's nurse. I was just transporting them. And I arrived at the room, and the nurse met us in the room, who would have been taking care of the patient. And this nurse was black, and the patient was white. And the patient said, "I don't want her to be my nurse." And I was completely taken off guard because this was a few years ago, but this is like 2021, 2020. Like, we've come a long way. Like, are people still actually saying this out loud? I couldn't believe that this person was actually saying this out loud. But they did. And said, "I don't want her touching me. I want another nurse." And the nurse was extremely professional. And she said, "Okay, I'll go get the charge nurse," and left. And I had to stay with the patient until another nurse came in the room. That was the facility policy. And I was livid. I couldn't believe that this grown person had said that to another human being. And the patient turned to me and said, "I'm sorry, but I just can't have somebody like that touching me, her color. You understand, right?" And I responded in a way that was probably not policy or considered appropriate, and I've never regretted it a single day of my life. And I said, "No, I don't understand. I don't. She's a great nurse, and you just missed out on having a great nurse because you're so racist and bigoted that you couldn't see beyond her skin color to let her take care of you. You're needing someone to help you, and she was here to help you, and you are so racist that you couldn't even let a good nurse take care of you. No, I don't understand. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself. That's disgusting. You ought to be ashamed." And the other nurse came in at that point, so I left as quickly as possible because I was about to lose my temper. That was the most professional I could be in responding to her. This past week, I had a patient who also thought that I would understand their perspective and ranted to me about how disgusting one of my coworkers was for being gay. I mean, that was literally it. It was just because my coworker's gay, and he he had makeup on when he visited the patient, and the patient said I couldn't even concentrate on anything that was going on because I was so distracted by how he looked. And I was disappointed with myself after that interaction because this patient has never brought up any social or political issues or said anything even remotely like that. And I just didn't say anything in response. And I was really disappointed with myself for not saying anything in response. Because what I should have said was, "He's a really great nurse. You didn't like him? Your loss, I guess, because he's pretty awesome. And it's really sad that you couldn't get past how he looked and focus on how good of care he was giving to you." And also, I'm bisexual, so do you want me to not be your nurse too? We need to find our courage to speak out because the opportunities are going to present themselves, and we need to be ready for when they are. We need to not shy away from telling people that they are racist, homophobic, bigoted pieces of shit in the kindest and most professional ways that we can, because that's when it's going to happen. When we're caught off guard, when we're at our jobs. And we need to think ahead and find the ways to say, that's not okay. We are in an overwhelming situation right now. And I know there are a lot of people who are really struggling with their mental health. I know there are a lot of people who are terrified. It feels like trying to clean up a house that has been trashed, and you don't know where to start. So let me tell you, pick a corner and just start there. There's so many things right now, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, the possible deportation of immigrants from this country, the assault on women's reproductive rights, the economy, the environment. That's just naming a few. There's so many things. Wherever you're pulled to, wherever you're drawn to, is where you need to go. You cannot do everything, and it's really easy in this information age and misinformation age to see everything that's going on in the world and feel like you're not doing enough because you are aware of everything that's going on. You are one person, you can only do so much. Pick your thing. That doesn't mean you don't care about the others. It means focus on your corner. Focus on your corner and work there and spread out from there because it's all related. Go look at my Instagram and Facebook. I have a really pretty Venn diagram that looks like a flower that points to all of the issues that we're dealing with right now. It's all rooted in capitalism. If you have taken sociology or economics at all and had good teachers, you understand that capitalism is a utopian idea just like communism is. They are utopian ideas that cannot exist in reality. We've tried to make capitalism work and failed miserably. Capitalism only works if you were part of the elite. And then it only works for so long because eventually people get tired of you stepping on their necks to climb up. And they'll let you fall. Capitalism is a utopian idea that does not exist in reality. And it's time that we admitted that. We talk about it like it's just, oh, this is an idea I don't agree with. No, it's not. It's a utopian idea that doesn't exist in reality. Communism is a utopian idea that doesn't exist in reality. Neither one of these exist in reality as viable systems of a large economy. It is impossible to make them work on a large scale. They can only work on a very small scale. They do not work in the societies that we have today. They don't. Trying to make them work hurts people. So speak out against it. Rebel against it. Go for the walk in the park. Paint your picture. Do those weird little things that make your heart happy. Rebel against the system that tells you you don't have time for you. You are a cog in a machine. Don't let yourself be diminished to a cog in a machine. Don't let the fucking bastards get you down. Keep being you. Being yourself in a capitalist dystopia is the most rebellious act that you can do. You don't need guns. You need to be you. Keep being you. Keep surviving. keep living. And those are two different things. Because the fact of the matter is, it's a numbers game, and they can't stop us all, especially if we refuse to let them stop us. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Please join me next week on the podcast as we both continue to work on our mosaic in progress. I have something I'm really excited about in store for you. I'm going to start a new series next week. As someone who's raised evangelical, I know how they think and why they think what they think because I was one of them. And we're going to talk about why evangelicals believe what they believe starting next week. And I hope you'll join me and continue to join me each week as we both continue to work on our mosaic in progress. I love you all. Stay strong. You're not alone. We got this. It's not over yet. Keep fighting.